Hello everybody and welcome to My Hero Academia, chapter number 346 review. This chapter is titled Super Hyper Unfair Broken Stage. Now, last chapter was number 345, in that chapter we saw Monoma using Korigiri's warp quirk to warp all the heroes and all the villains to different locations so they could fight each other, and he warped Deku to the wrong place because Toga pulled him into their portal and not to the portal he should have went in, which is the Shigaraki portal. But we start off this chapter in the Shigaraki portal, or at the Super Hyper Unfair Broken Stage, also known as the UA High School floating in the sky. That's where we start this chapter. And we started off with some of the heroes who have been transported there. We obviously saw Bakugo and Best Jeanist last chapter, but this chapter we see Nejire, Sun Eater, Edgeshot, and Mirko are there. And we start off with all of them talking to each other pretty much. Best Jeanist is like, Deku isn't here? We don't have one for all? How'd this happen? Bakugo's like, hell if I know, he was dragged somewhere else. Sun Eater says, this is really bad, right? Having him here was one of our key assumptions. Nejire is like, we gotta let everyone know. And Mirko's like, whatever, this party's already started, so let's rumble. We just gotta go toe-to-toe with the history's deadliest villain ever. As we see, Shigaraki has been teleported there, and he's doing his thing. And we see something from his perspective. He's like, the horizon is so far below. I'm in the sky. This place is floating. None of the escaped convicts or Liberation Front people came along for the ride. I'm alone. But it doesn't matter. And hey, don't take over my head this time. Me. As we see Shigaraki lands on the ground and uses his decay quirk to decay the ground. But then it shoots up into the air, all of the parts that are being decayed, and it shoots Shigaraki straight up into a electromagnetic barrier, as he says. And it's this barrier that's running all around the UA high school dome super hyper unfair battle stage thing. And Shigaraki's like, my muscles are locking up, but still. And Best Jeanist just yells, oh no you don't, there's a gap in your seams, as he goes and grabs and binds up Shigaraki with his fiber control quirk. And he slams him on the ground, and he proclaims, as long as your brain and muscles are still operating, your body, then a powerful electric current will make you stiffen up. Even someone who's superhuman will be helpless, if only for a brief moment. And Shigaraki's just sitting there thinking how one segment of the ground launched up high and crumbled in midair. Is it a mechanism to keep my decay from spreading? No matter, the scheme will be your ruin, Jeanist. And he's like, we're floating up in the sky, yeah? The ground here's a precious resource, and you're practically giving it away for free. As Best Jeanist just does the best, just points to the back with his thumb, and he's like, no need to worry. We are replete with that particular resource. Have you truly figured it out yet, Shigaraki? Is your brain short-circuiting from that shock? As we see a sort of cube modular thing fill up those areas that just got launched up into the sky. And Best Jeanist proclaims, this arena was constructed solely to defeat you. It shall be your coffin in the sky. As we didn't see in the basement of this thing, Power Loader's just laughing. Points F10 and F1035 and G1045 have been damaged. And Cement Toss is like, roger that, let's fill in those gaps, everyone. And in here, we see a bunch of these support corps students, but also Hatsume, who's just like, sure thing, can we get some spare parts over here? Or what was your name again? And we see Momo, or Creati, as her hero name is, just going, it's Creati, but my friends call me Momo Yao. You can too if you like. And, oh geez. Who is that? Best Jeanist. Too many characters here. He goes, our grand assignment was finding a way to contain you, but with your ability to cause instant widespread death and you're spreed on par with All Might's in his prime. Observing you two battles since your great awakening led us to this ideal arena. And we see that pretty much one of the main inspirations of that was just Hatsume going, great, let's make it fly. And he's like, it was all made possible by an 18-year-old young lady, which was Hatsume. And they're all thinking together, sort of like the shelter and evacuation system created by the principal, plus a mechanism to counter your decay quirk, and yet another program to miniaturize the segment blocks and then relaunch them like drones. The remaining problems were lack of materials due to the ravaged economies, the tight turnaround for construction, and during all of this we see literally all of the ectoplasm clones, Power Loader, Cementos, Principal Nezu with a wrecking ball, and Momo Yaoyorozu, and it's all just going together to show, yeah, everybody's got a part to play in this. But Best Genius also goes to say, and a prestigious amount of energy required for mechanical systems in the electromagnetic barrier. And down there, we see some electric heroes. We not only see Kaminari, who is just powering all of this with his electrical quirk, but we also see the comic guy, I think his name is Manga Furuhashi or something, from Class 1B, and of course he's using his power to make volt sounds, and we see just Kaminari sending out all of the electricity. And so pretty much Kaminari's just like, this is totally nuts, manga. You hang it in there, and we see Manga Furuhashi, yep, he's there, and he's like, I'm blah over here, and yeah, it's just something. And we see some other UA kids just saying, focus up, first years, and we see Kaminari just going, hey, we're basically second years at this point, ain't that right, manga? But they're all just like, this plan falls apart without us, we gotta keep it alive to keep Shigaraki locked in here, and Kaminari's like, you bet, your boy Charge Bolt is mega charged. But this entire time, we just get something else that Genus was saying. Everything we have built up and worked towards is powering this tomb of yours. Not for honor, not for glory. No, those of us here making this work do it to ensure that we will have a world that will see tomorrow. We are those who stand against the doom you bring. And Shigaraki goes, so proud of your toys, but not for long. One well-placed shockwave, and we see Bakugo's flying towards him and says, joke's on you. Or did you forget that crappy game of ours back in Jaku? As we see that he can't use his quirk. He can't use that shockwave quirk because there this entire time is Monoma playing a part of a star again, using Aizawa's erasure quirk to make sure that he can't do his power. Because, of course, Aizawa can't use his quirk anymore, but Monoma can. And we also see Manuel is there forcing water into his eyes so he doesn't have to blink. But as I said, Monoma's saying, starring role! There's nothing you hate more than an Erasure, Mr. Final Boss. And Eraserhead is sitting beside him, because of course, Monoma has to be touching him for that constant cycle of his quirk to work. And he's saying, this effectively locks us in place, but as long as he's making continuous contact, Monoma can circumvent the 5-minute limit for copied abilities. With all these factors in place, we assumed One for All would give us the advantage. But now, bad news. Midoriya isn't here. As we see Shigaraki is using what seems to be a quirk to grow a bunch of hands and, not even a hand, it's like a bunch of fingers off of his arm. And Miriko's like, Dynamite, got any intel on what the hell that is? And we see that, and Aizawa's thinking, not to mention Shigaraki's body was still imperfect in Jaku, as we see this amalgamation of fingers and hands just slam into Miriko as Shigaraki proclaims, I used to think you were so cool. You turned out to be quite the letdown, Eraserhead. And that's where the chapter ends. We have just a 15-page chapter this week, so nothing much. But pretty much the main idea of this is just showing that, yeah, there's this really unfair battle stage that's being set up. And also, Mono is playing the role of a star again. It's great. He is using the erasure quirk from Aizawa to erase Shigaraki's abilities. But of course, Shigaraki is still able to use this hand quirk, maybe? Or maybe it's just some hyper-regeneration. Who knows? But whatever it is, it's not working and Deku isn't there, which is a problem. But yeah, that's really all it's there for this chapter. Really, it was good overall. It's really showing what Shigaraki will have to go up against and how he will probably ultimately lose or be saved by Deku. But Deku still has to get here. And yeah, it's just showing a bunch of character things in this chapter. So yeah, that's the chapter. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. This is Glowplasma231 out.